What is up, everybody? Josh, Rashawn, how are you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Thanks for coming in, brother. Appreciate you.
No, I appreciate y'all inviting me. Blessings.
Yeah, we're excited to have you in. I know you're only here for a short time, so we really appreciate it.
Hey, that's all God. That's all I can think about.
So, guys, just to, shine some light on here and tell you guys a little bit about our guest today. This guy's, first of all, an amazing person, professional football athlete, amazing coach, leader of the youth. When I tell you leader of the youth, this guy mentors a lot of the youth, and he's doing a lot of amazing things with them. And not only in sports, but creating professional men and educating them tremendously. So with that being said, I know I said it, Rashawn, but Rashawn Scott, my boy.
Just a little bit, I want to talk about myself a little bit. I'm at Georgia now, just trying to get, like Anthony said, all the young guys up and moving. Just trying to teach them, if they want to make it to the next level, how much they got to love pain, because it ain't easy up there, and nobody cares.
You're working for the football team up there, you said, before we hopped on the podcast?
Yes, sir. I help out with the receiver coaches.
Okay.
So it's a blessing to be in that position. Thank everybody that put me in that position. So I want to first say that.
How's it been at Georgia? How long you been there?
Since last summer.
Okay.
I got to get surgery on my ankle, so my coach told me to come up there. He was the OC up there. See if I like it, see what's going on, and we went from there.
Awesome. You think about getting into coaching eventually, or?
Oh yeah, it's over with. It's
yeah.
all my mind already done. It's already made up. We already talked about it. It's over with. We on.
Yeah, it's a different type of energy when you're on that collegiate level, especially in a big conference like the SEC, man. So.
But it's a different. I'm an ACC guy, so just seeing the SEC and how they do things it's unbelievable how everything worked. The emotion, the guys, the passion for it. At the end of the day, I feel like it's more of a business over there, and I love it.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I told you off camera, working at Syracuse when I was there in my undergrad, it opened up my eyes really to it is a real business though.
Oh yeah.
It is about money. It is about putting seats in the stands and getting some advertising dollars. So, how is that? Was there a certain moment that you realized that okay, this is big business? Because you play collegiate football, right?
Yes, sir.
So, where'd you play at?
University of Miami.
Okay, the U.
Oh, come on now. I still could throw it up. It ain't. I'm still there. Yeah, still my blood.
Gotta represent. But so what moment was it where you're like, okay, this is, especially ACC is no joke, man. But the SEC is that's like the NFL right there, man. That's a big level. So what aha moment did you have where you're like, okay, man, this is some serious business?
Just when I walked into the building, seen a couple linemen walking down the stairs to the practice field.
Grown ass men.
Thought some boys was just coming back. Just to come back and work out. Nah, them boys are on the team.
Yeah.
So that's what I noticed about the difference, just the bigger guys, just the country boys. And sometimes you got to love that, though, and that's where you got to go out and recruit at the end of the day. That's what I feel.
Yeah, those farm strong boys. I grew up in the country in upstate New York, so I know what it's like.
Corn-fed, baby.
Oh, yeah. Baling hay.
So something I was thinking about since we were talking about differences, what would you say is the big difference from being an athlete and competing as an athlete and then being a coach and competing as a coach? What would you say is the biggest challenges differently between the both?
Biggest challenge is I think obviously being an athlete is a lot harder because you go through more. You actually giving somebody your life. You actually signing on a dotted line and basically telling this person, I'm giving you me, and you're depending on somebody to play with your future. So that's hard as a kid. You don't think about it, but now that I know, you think about it. So it's just being a coach. It's just you've been through worse. I'm going to tell you that right now. You've been through worse. You've been through more pain just being a player, just dealing with all the bull, but then dealing with the happiness. So being a coach it's all mental. It's all timing, everything's from 8 a.m. You could go to 3 a.m. just trying to plan for the boys. So that's the thing I would say is difficult about being a coach. Just staying up, just staying awake and staying in tune and everything, just having urgency upstairs and then trying to motivate the kids, which is obviously you done that all your life. So that's the only part I think would be difficult.
So would you say would you say being a coach who was an athlete before is a tremendous help in coaching than a coach who never maybe was an athlete? As far as I'm talking about in the college and pro level, would you say there's a big difference there when you're a coach coming off being an athlete before than coaches who didn't?
Yes. Just my dad was a coach, so it's a little easier for me. Like, I didn't just jump into it, and I didn't go to college and say, oh, I'm going to be a GA or I'm going to be a student assistant. I was raised into it already. My dad started our Little League program. So,
wow.
It's easier for me to talk about it, easier for me to say, maybe coaching was for me. That's why it was so smooth for me to just go into it. So,
and, I mean, you mentioned, how different it is when you really are kind of giving someone your life for 4 or 5 years, so now that you're on the other side of things and you're the one having to kind of, recruit these kids and give them this advice that hopefully will resonate with them over the whole recruiting period or, over the whole 4 years that they're with you guys, is there maybe 1 or 2 pieces of underlying advice that you give to them or things that you talk to them about that, like, hey, listen, like, we're really here for your best interest? Like, how do you go about that with these kids?
Just based off just making them comfortable. It's trust. That's what I believe in. Everything is trust. And I don't want a guy to come here if he don't trust me. It's scary at the end of the day. It's just like getting an agent. It's no different. Signing that line and getting the agent in the league. It's the same situation. So what I would just tell them, just go on about your process as in recruiting. See who you could trust. See who you down for. See who you feel like is a family member. But at the same time, you got to take it like business. Don't be blind to the situation. And a lot of people are blind to the situation. So I'll be honest with them. And I just let them know because I've been in that situation. And it'll kill me if I don't tell them. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think that's something you hear about as far as advice. Not just the athletic advice, but more the off the field advice that can really help, shape these, athletes into the next level of their life. So speaking about that, like, what would you say that you give these people, your young kids advice in as far as life goes? Like, what are life lessons you teach them to be able to continue their path to success in becoming a pro athlete?
Just doing people right. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs. Just advice-wise, just don't forget about your family, because when you go to college, a lot of people tend to forget about their family, and they just get caught up in the sauce, and you go downhill from there. Then now you're trying to replay, you're trying to make up with your family and your brothers and your sisters. So don't forget about it because you'll go off course. That's one big advice I would have to say. Just staying prepared, taking notes. I notice a lot of note-taking has gone down over the year just because kids think they're very athletic. Just a lot of note-taking because you're going to meet the same guy and he's going to take notes and you're not going to win when you get to the next level. Don't think you will not go across him because he's way in Oklahoma and you in Florida. You will meet him one day. So just note-taking and just working hard. And once again, like I said, just loving the pain, man. Pain ain't got to hurt, but love is pain. What else is pain? Just being 100%, being honest to yourself is painful. So you just got to do it in that way. That's what I tell people.
I mean, I think that's super relevant, especially, with everything that's going on nowadays is I feel like a lot of people are afraid to look in the mirror and really analyze their own actions and analyze their own decision-making and really have that hard conversation with themselves that, in order to be an athlete, to be a successful athlete or just in general be a winner in an athletic program, right? You have to be able to look at yourself and say, like, what are my actual faults and what are the things that, I need to improve on. And that's something that I've always been very appreciative of with my own athletic background, was like that really laid the foundation for me to then, even if it comes down to podcasting now, like, I'm always looking at little things on how to interview people better or how to listen better or, what conversations we can kind of have. But to be able to have that type of insight and have that type of, in order to be, humble enough to really understand that, not everything's going to go right in life, right? And part of that is a part of athletics, right, is like, taking the loss with your chin held high, and we've all been in that situation at some point in our lives. It doesn't have to be in athletics, but you know, when you see a lot of kids, and coming from an athletic background myself, you see a lot of these kids like really get down on themselves, right? They a lot of times, especially in football programs, you know, they don't really come from very affluent families, you know, very hard lifestyles they've lived growing up. I'm sure you've experienced a lot of that. I know we definitely have in our own lives, you know. So how do you keep these kids, you know, motivated and inspired, you know, to be able to say like, okay, bad shit's gonna happen. You know, I'm gonna have a shit play here or there, but like I got to focus on the next one and then the next one. So, you know, what's something that you kind of give these kids?
I'd look at it and I tell them, I'll sit them down and, you know what, we're going to talk business. If you think that hurt you, think about later in your future. You want a business, right? So it's going to hurt trying to make a business. And playing hurts. And guess what? Playing going to get you that business that you want. I'm going to tell you that. So what I just go about it because, you know, my family, I was fortunate to have all that, to be able to wake up every day and look at a business and be able to say, oh, I could use football and still create a business of my own one day since my family's already in that situation. So I want to preach that against them, and I want to help them. So when you talk to me, you're going to get help regardless of the situation. You're going to get help. I'm your coach, you're going to get help. So it's all about business, all about me making you and your family better regardless.
It's a lot of truth right there. That's amazing. And this next question I want to ask you, involving with coaching, especially during, like Josh said, these are some hard times where, you know, things aren't as what we'll say normal. What are ways that you guys, you know, at least in Georgia or yourself as a coach, what are you doing right now to be able to stay in communication with these boys, motivate them, inspire them, make sure that they're still doing their you know, their drills, getting in their health and fitness in, keeping their mindset right? What are some things that you're doing right now, tactics, tools, you know, online, whatever it is, meeting them? Like, what are you doing right now to make sure you still continue that process of growth?
Well, how we start with the process over there, first of all, we're dealing with what's going on in the society right now. So if we can't get them to understand and listen of what's going on and with laws and obviously just skin color and everything, if we can't get them to listen to that, we can't get them to do that because that's what's real right now. So that goes back to honesty and being real with ourselves. So, but, you know, they're still doing it. We've been having Zoom meetings and, you know, we've been going over it. Everyone's been talking no matter what race you are on our team. Everyone's been watching documentaries and trying to educate themselves. So that's what we're doing. You know what? And they feel a lot better because then they go out there and work out, you know, and we watch them and we come back the next day and we do it again. We done have speakers. So we done had a priests and pastors come on Zoom with 150 people that's on our team. So
it's amazing.
That's what we're getting them to do. And you know what? Just by doing that, you know, we here for them. And you know what? That's going to make them do the ladder that much harder. That's going to make them want to work out that much harder. That's going to make them want to care for their brother next to them without us even saying nothing because we care about what's real.
I love hearing that because I got to see those are the things I believe that really separate teams from other teams. And when you can maintain that unity amongst players, you're going to get a higher production. And it doesn't even matter if you're a team full of better athletes with another one, but we all know at the end of the day, if you guys can unify and play as a whole, as a family, that's a whole nother level right there, you know? So that's amazing that you guys are doing out there. You know, I got to congratulate you guys for that.
That's all the coaches, that's all the upper heads, that's all the players that's into it. And, you know, they made me follow, and I should want to follow regardless. So they making me a leader, and I'm making them a leader, and we love it.
It's amazing. Amazing.
Now you're talking about leadership. So, and you're right. Especially in athletic programs, right? It always comes from the top down. No matter what, you know, I've been part of some programs where the head coach, you know, didn't have his priorities straight, let's say, and a lot of the coaches didn't, and that happens. Depending on the situation that they feel like they're in, if they feel like they should be in a better spot or whatever. But at Georgia, you know, like, what are some examples that you've seen, you know, the head coach and the offensive and defensive coordinators, like even within their own actions, like what are some things that you've picked up that you've been like, okay, like I need to start doing that. Like that's how I'm going to lead. That's how I want to handle things.
You got some guys that are, you know, more vocal, more passionate, and you would never think that head coach is like that when he get on the field. just because of who he is. He's more. You get some head coach that's more passionate inside the building. You get some more head coach that's passionate on the outside. And what I get by all that and what I like learning from that is recruiting. Some head coaches are great at recruiting, and that's what I love too. And some head coaches are father figures, regardless of the situation. I had a lot of father figure head coaches, and some head coaches are head coaches where they down your throat. So it's the leadership into that is you're not going to get any players if you don't have no background history. I'm going to tell you that right now. Right. You have to have leadership background history just to being on that level, definitely in the SEC. So just me by being there, that's already a big leadership role that they already putting in my eyes. Just me walking through the door in the morning, that's a leadership. Like, I'm here, and, like, these are all leaders. These are all guys that have history. You could just say it, Kirby Smart. You can name it, Monken. All the guys you can name, Dan Lanning. Those are all leaders in my eyes to me.
And people that are, been proven to be winners. Like Kirby Smart's one of the best coaches in the country by far. Like, no one can doubt that. And the things that he did at his old programs and the turnaround that he's really had at Georgia in the short time that he's been there, like, you can see the growth and the trust that people have within the organization for him and what he believes in, So I'm sure that you see that on a daily basis must be great for you.
Oh yeah, I don't feel it, but now that you're talking about it, I'm starting to feel it a little bit.
Getting that itch.
I'm like, oh man, I'm blessed. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's a blessing to be down there and to motivate them boys. And definitely a lot of the guys that's from Florida. Since I'm from Florida, I'm just away from home. I know how hard it is to be away from home, so that's good that I get to be there with them.
Yeah, like when I was at Syracuse, Doug Marrone was head coach, the guys with the Jaguars now. And he was a relatively quiet guy for the most part. He kind of stood back and really let his coordinators and his staff do their thing, which, I thought was commendable, but it was always interesting to me. He's a Syracuse guy too. He played offensive line there, of course. But when he barked, when he spoke, everyone was looking. The guy, you could tell through his work ethic that, like, he was there for the players. He might not always be the nicest person to them, but, he made sure that they got the message that they needed to get, at the right time. And if he had to kind of put an arm around their shoulder and, be that fatherly figure, he was there for them. And, when it was time to, crack the whip and make sure that the ship was heading in the right direction, he was doing that. So I can understand that, that feeling that you're talking about, man, like seeing someone that's accomplished some real shit, take ownership of what they got to take care of and really, do the right thing, not only for themselves and what they need to accomplish in their own career, but to make sure that, especially kids, you're talking 17 to 23-year-old young men that are extremely impressionable.
Yes.
So you got to always think, and you might not think that they're paying attention to what you're doing, even if you're in like the food hall or something, but the athletes, they're paying attention to what you're doing, They're seeing how you're eating your food. They're seeing if you're, by yourself in the corner there, if you're interacting with your staff and the players and everything.
So
They're always watching. They're always, trying to learn from those that they look up to.
Oh yeah, 100%. I believe in that a lot. Just by you saying them looking at you eating, everything counts. No matter if you got a guy that's think he knows everything, just know he's watching too. Regardless if he's cocky, if he's humble, if he's arrogant, no matter what, they're watching. It doesn't even matter because they're still trying to learn. They still trying to be that man everyone else in front of them are trying to be. So
I want to go a few years back here. I know we've had conversations when we've worked out together and stuff like that about coaching and your pro days and the UM days. Every time I talk to you, I could tell you just love being a coach and an amazing influence for these young boys. And it's just I can feel it every time. Like I can genuinely feel it. So for other athletes or other inspiring coaches out there, what would you say was that thing that because I know you had that time where, you played for the Dolphins, you were going to possibly return. What was that thing that made you said, you know what? I love coaching. I want to just coach. Like what was that process like? How did that feel? What was it that made you want to do that and say, like, this is my career now moving forward?
the thing was, I'm going to break it down this way. If I didn't get injured, I'd be still playing. So just by me growing up, I was taught to have different ways. Don't always put your eggs in one basket. So I was literally taught that growing up. And by me getting hurt so much, little do people know, I've been thinking about that since University of Miami. So it's not what the itch that got me there. Just the people around me got me there as the coaches. I stayed after practice. I stayed upstairs with them. I hung out with the GAs. I hung out with the student assistants. I was that guy that did that. I hung out after practice. I didn't just leave. I hung out with the grown folks. That's just who I was. I wanted to be a better man just because I was taught that way. And that's what I want to give back to people. Don't put your eggs in one basket. Because if I didn't do that, I probably wouldn't be sitting in the position I'm today because I don't know how they work. I don't know what they do upstairs. I never seen it. But just over time at UM, I saw it. So now that I'm at Georgia, it's the same thing. I'm like, oh, it's just what would you say? What's the word? You just say it's a whole 360, put it that way. A whole 360 just happened to me. So I'm glad that I did that. And just like I said before, just by watching my dad, that I always loved coaching. I just happen to be good at football. That's all. I happen to be good at football. My brother loved football, I'll tell you that right now. And he the one who woke me up every day, got me up every day. So a lot of people don't know that wasn't really what I really wanted. It was just what he was shooting for. He played at Georgia. So I was cool with it. I was cool with the decision. I was cool with going out there and helping the young kids because they need it. I don't need it. They need it.
So I love the fact that you brought up, too, about you surrounding yourself constantly, even after, practice, games, getting in there with the other GMs, the coaches, learning from them. And I can pretty much say that this goes for coaches on anything. Me and Josh being coaches in the fitness world, you want to get up there and be a top coach, and you want to be able to excel. You got to hang around other top coaches. You want to go hang out with the manager. You want to go spend time after your training sessions and be there. And those are the ones that are going to show up later on and become those top level successful coaches. So I think it's amazing you brought that up, and also too, not putting all your eggs in one basket. And it goes to say for any listener out there, and whatever you're doing, take that advice where, surround yourself with those people, the people you want to be like one day and you're inspired to and you want to learn from and grow from, and spend time with them because it'll pay off in the long run. So, that's one thing I'm really glad you brought up.
Well, and I think it's also a testament to your character, right? One that you realize, because a lot of people are selfish, right? They don't take the time to look around and see how many people really got them to where they are. We've had conversations on the podcast before about, some of the people that have, really helped us and people that we could lean on, when we were going through some trying times. And, that's not always easy to be able to sit back and say, like, yeah, I've had all of the success, but, like, look at all the people that got me here. Look at all the people that had to sacrifice, all the coaches that had to sacrifice time with their family that they could have been when they were in the war room, going through the film so that I can, run this route and have this read so that I can, make the touchdown and I can have the glory, and now you're being able to give back to, the younger generations and I can only imagine the amount of impact that's going to have on them in the future, man. It's a big thing to be doing, and again, having seen the back end of that, the time that you were talking about, yes, that the coaches got to put in, that you weren't seen as an athlete, I got to see working for the team, because I was hanging around the OC and I was hanging around the GAs and doing all that stuff and helping them with some shit. And, it made me really realize, like, it's not just about you, regardless. It's even if you are the brand, right? In your case, when you were an athlete, like, you were the brand, right? Like, you were the one scoring the touchdowns. You were the one fucking getting these massive blocks so other people can get the touchdowns. But, it's about all those other people that got you there, that got you to that point where you can make the play. you know, and all the sacrifices that they had to make. I mean, we talk about it all the time between ourselves. Like when we're sitting here playing in the podcast, it's like, you know, I'm not doing this just for me. I'm doing this for him, and he's doing it for me too.
Exactly.
You know, and I know, having conversations with previous athletes, you know, that I trained in the weight room. I worked like as a strength and conditioning coach at a couple of places, but you know, and even just having conversation with them, they're like, man, you know, it's just cool to have someone here to like listen to me and shoot the shit around with, you know, but also tell me, like, give me some advice every now and then, you know. So that's amazing, man. You know, that you're doing that, and I know personally, having listened to former athletes, and you obviously know this, being a former athlete, that, you know, that means a lot to those kids. A lot of them don't have father figures. I didn't have a father figure growing up, you know. So having, you know, responsible, honorable men in their life, like that's gonna go a long way to making sure that they're doing the right things.
Yes, that's my biggest aspiration, just to motivate them and just to get them going. Because, you know, I have friends and I have family that's in football, and they don't just go get that job when they're done right away. They keep fighting. Well, then 6 years from now, you're gonna be 34 and you ain't got no consistent base.
Yeah,
it's gonna hurt. It hurt you already by just doing it without you knowing it. They don't tell you, oh, 6 years from now you're gonna be good. No, keep playing. Go over to Canada. Go over there to Canada. Go to arena ball. 6 years from now, what investment are they putting into you? They just having fun calling plays. So it's my aspiration just to get it out there, just to get it moving, just to have the best building that I'm going to have in the future being a coach.
Now, I want to talk about your playing days a little bit. I want to know, is there ever a team or like one specific player that you just like absolutely cooked every time you guys went against?
Ooh.
Is there anyone you can think of off the top of your head? I love asking athletes this.
It could be in practice too.
Yeah, don't be afraid to call out your own teammates. That's fine.
Who I cook every day in practice? Man.
Or even anyone that you had, like, what's your biggest battle? Like, who's someone that, like, you know, would always get under your skin, always have, you know, because there's those talkers out there, man. I know plenty of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't say cook, because I feel like I cook everybody.
Hey,
so,
that's a confidence right there.
So that's why it was hard for me to answer that. I'm not going to lie, and I'm sure other people could tell you that too. But the biggest battle that I had, that I'm talking fighting 50 yards downfield, did not look at the line or anybody else once, it's Artie Burns. I can't deny that. Me and him fight every day. That practice is worse than the games, and that's why it's just, he will tell you, simply as that, we are fist fighting. Off the line, 2 yards down the field, 4 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards, wherever. Slant coming, post coming, we're fighting. Like, so that would be my biggest competitor that actually helped me in life, that actually made me actually love football. Like, so y'all already know what I said about football. Guys like him who made me keep going of my injuries. Oh man, I can't be in this training room just because I got to go back out there and fight him. You know, it's just that.
Not gonna let him have the upper hand. Fuck that.
Nah. I'm about to get better.
Ain't gonna let him get those extra reps in.
No.
Yeah.
So it's just him being over there, and you know, other guys too, because everybody was passionate at you know, we call it Green Tree. Everybody was passionate there. So it's just being around that atmosphere that what kept me going, kept me pushing, and obviously family. So give it to Artie Burns. But other than that, I'll tell you my route. We cooking you.
And there you go. It's a little Chad Johnson in you.
Watch out.
So what's maybe one team that you always love to face? I mean, maybe other than like what's one no one think about? I mean, obviously, like, you know, the FSU UM battles, UM battles, like those are the tried and true ones. But what's one team that you were like, I can't I see them on the schedule, I can't fucking wait.
And that big moment game, that one that'll always just shine on you.
Ooh, I'm trying to think.
Everyone. It didn't matter. Line me up against them.
Yeah, it's hard. It's because I feel like, you know, just being in the SEC, the ACC kind of easy, you know. So it's to me, everything was a big game. So I can't really answer that. Everything was a big game to me. I didn't mess around. I didn't. Oh, that's the team. I treated FSU like it was Bethune. I treated Bethune like it was FSU. So it was. I never put down on the paper, circle somebody off, or check them off, and went to go look at their cornerback and be like, oh, I'm at him this year.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't do that. Everything was a big deal to me. Everything was passionate. Just like we said, just because I know all the people that fought for me to get there. So I always thought about that. So I had to be passionate just because I got a lot of people looking at me.
So I guess we can go on and say, like in anything in life, you got to fight, and then I think also too, going back to, the practice days, I think it's amazing, when you can find, yourself, somebody in your own squad, your own team, that's right there beside you and challenge you like that to get the best out of you, that healthy competition just builds your character up, and builds who you are, like you were saying. And I think it's amazing, like you said, you go into every game with that attitude of, I'm going to challenge this challenger the same way I'm going to look at this team. Even if this team's the best team in the league right now, I'm going to face the lowest team, even if they're like the best team. So, going with that mentality day in and day out every time, I think that's what separates a lot of these athletes, and really just makes you stay at a high level. And you can tell, man, you can tell when you have that mentality, how it moves through all aspects of your life, relationship, business, health, just everything. So, speaking about other aspects of your life, where would you say that you can see that transition for you? And where would you say that's had the most impact? Learning that discipline, learning that competition, that healthy competition, that fighting, to get better. Where have you seen that that's helped you with other aspects of your life tremendously?
Just leaving home. You tend to lose your ways when you leave home, regardless of the situation. You got those guys that don't. Those guys stay focused. Those guys stay on a mission. But then you got guys like me. I go away. I'm finally out the house. Just getting to see something else would make you lose your way. But then, that instinct that kicks back in, that your family, your brothers and sisters, like, what are we doing? Why'd you come down here? Why'd you come to Miami? So all those instincts come back in, and just, like I said, Al Golden, father figure, just being in the atmosphere of the U, just the brotherhood that we have, and I'm still friends with everybody. Anyone know they could come and talk to me. So just by me saying that tells you what type of locker room we had. That tells you what type of coaches we had. And that was just towards me. I'm just speaking for myself, as in how I was treated and how everyone looked at me. So me just being a man, me getting in, I've been in some trouble at UM. I'd have had my ups and I had my downs. And you know what? Like we say, those people that support us, they supported me. And I became a man from it. I learned my character. I learned who I am, and I'm still learning who I am. I'm about 95% about who I am. I got to need a little more 5%, but that's okay,
Yeah, that's a pretty good percentage, man. If you feel like you know yourself that much, man, and damn, I gotta get on your level.
You really got me thinking. I'm like, where am I at right now?
Fuck, I got a lot of work to do.
Where am I at?
If he's at 95%, I feel like I'm at like 65. I gotta start fucking thinking about some shit.
Yo, Josh, we're gonna have to talk after this podcast.
Yeah, I might have to go to some therapy sessions or some shit.
Shoot.
Yeah. So that's it. I would say I really found my way at UM. Towards the end of my career, I found my way. I got back to my man ways, and obviously I still needed some learning after that, but we got it done. I learned early, and it's helping me now that I'm still in my 20s. Thank God.
Heck yeah. And speaking about UM. You being a coach at Georgia, I'm not trying to say anything, but do you ever see yourself or catch yourself doing something with UM again?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's I would put that in the dream category. And me, I'll be honest with you, I don't believe in dreams. I believe in aspirations. So it's a dream just to get back down here and then being able to get a house and live it from the other view, be upstairs in a different way, which, like I said, I know what it's like upstairs since I've been doing it there for so long. So
got you hungry.
It's got me hungry to get back. And, you know, they always welcome me when I come back in the building. They always welcome me on every side, academics, football, video, equipment, training room.
Yeah.
They always show me love.
Dude, I saw it when I came in, when you invited me and I hung out with you, you know, during that pro day. That pro day, man. Dude, I was like, wow, man. Like, I was like, yo, people love this dude. Like, and I'm like, this is why I love him. Because he's real. This is who he is. Works hard, leader, real, good with people. You know, genuinely cares. And, like, that was the first thing like, it wasn't even football. It wasn't even, like, obviously cool to be there. But it was just like, bro, honestly, like, that day I was watching and I just saw how the way people spoke to you, came up to you, the coaches, the players, you know, and just greeted you. And we're like, yo, happy to see you. And it was just, like, super welcoming. Like, and it was just like, wow. Like, now I can truly see why this guy is going far. And, like, why he's doing amazing things. Why, like, so many people want to be with him. Because, you know, and that's what, like, draw me to you is, like, man, like, you're a good person, man. And, like, and not only that, but you lift up other people. And you also you just don't think about the people that are up here. You lift up all the people that are wanting and fighting to get to where you are and even to that next level. And you truly put your time to care for them. Because not only was I there with you, but you brought youngsters with you. And I don't forget that. And I saw the way you were talking to them and explaining to them, yo, you should go talk to this guy, go learn from him. Dude, like, you really care about these young guys, you know, and it's hard to find that. It's hard to find a lot of, you know, coaches and athletes who really will spend this much time with this youth to really want to, like, see them progress. And obviously, you know, too, like, who you're going to put your effort and energy into. When you see a kid who's hungry and wants it and, you know, is looking for that help and wants that growth, you're going to invest your energy and time into them. But the fact that you actually do that, I think that's the amazing part. And I feel like that's something that, you know, we can say is truly needed more and more every day. And, brother, I'm telling you, man, it shows. It shows every single day. That's the first thing when I think Rashawn, the first thing I think in my head is, man, this guy, he's an inspiration, and this guy is a huge influence, positive influence on the youth. This is above football, everything. That's the first thing when I think about you, dude. I'm like, this guy's a true leader, genuine person, and just loves helping the youth.
Well, guess what? Genuine people meet genuine people. So let's not go past that.
Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that.
I'm gonna put that out there on the table. That's it. Simple as that. And then, like you saying with the kids and what you saw, it's basically my motto, just help me help you, because I could help you with anything. And that's what I truly believe. I truly believe that because I have the support system to do it. So when I have the family members to do it, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to dive in. I'm not going to just stick my foot out there. I'm all in. And that's why people could see it. I'm not here to just you need to do that, you need to do that. No. We thinking about the future. We thinking about the long run. I'm a long run guy. I'm not a moment guy. People tell me to live in a moment. I can't. I'm thinking about the kid that's about to be born right now. Not my kid, but I'm saying just a baby. Just, you know what I mean? Just who's the next one? Who's the next one? How can I help this group and this group go back and help that group so I don't have to do it? I could just leave it right there as a legacy. Y'all know the rules. Y'all know how we do things. Y'all know the bullet points. Keep it going. And that's just based on another thing from UM that I didn't talk about. Me coming in the room as a freshman at University of Miami. I'm sitting there, everybody taking notes. And, you know, high school kid.
Yeah, never take notes.
Never take notes.
Just got there ball.
Yep, that's it.
Like, I'm looking, I'm like, I'm feeling weird. Like, grab my notebook, you know? Like, but then that's just what the room got. That means that didn't just start then or last year or the year before that. That started a long time ago.
Yeah.
People just don't take notes. It was somebody started that. Obviously, we don't have greats there, Reggie Wayne, you know, Santana Moss, all them guys. So I'm thinking that started a long, long time ago. I can't just be the only one. So it's just like stuff like that built my character, and that's so little.
Now, was there, when you were growing up, right, was there maybe one specific UM player, you know, you're a wideout, you were a wideout, you know, was there one wide receiver that played at UM that, you know, you were always looking up to? And then just as like a kind of a follow-up question, like whoever that person was, you know, being part of that, you know, it's a pretty legendary group to be able to call yourself like, yo, I played wide receiver at the U, you know, like that's a pretty momentous thing to be able to tell people.
For sure.
You know, that person that or a couple, you know, people that athletes that you looked up to growing up, did you ever get to meet them? And if so, like, what were some of the pieces of advice that they gave you, you know, following in their footsteps?
Ooh, I like that. Well, let's start it off like this.
I know I threw a lot at you.
No, that's fine. That is perfect. I never watched UM growing up.
Wow.
I never watched UM growing
I
up.
think you told me this. I remember you told me something like this.
I'm a University of Southern California guy. So I'm a USC guy. I grew up watching Reggie Wayne, Dwayne, Lindell White. I grew up watching those guys. So the receiver I watched was his name was Dwayne. I forget Dwayne Garrett.
Okay.
Or Dwayne
Jarrett.
Jarrett.
Dwayne Jarrett. Yeah, he played for Carolina, right?
Yeah. Dwayne Jarrett. That's who I grew up watching him. I grew up watching that group. I never even thought about UM. I grew up watching Notre Dame because I'm Catholic.
Okay.
So I got a family member up there, and you know I used to go to the USC Notre Dame thing every year, and so I didn't have no idea, but just Jared, I grew up watching him. Never met him. Just when they lost to Texas, I could tell you I cried.
I watched that game. That was a wild game. That was wild. By the way, you're triggering me a little bit with USC. When I was at Cuse, we got piss pounded at MetLife Stadium by them. It was like, I think Marquise Lee had like 5 touchdowns. I think he had 4 touchdowns by halftime. We got fucking roasted. I was like, I can't believe we came all the way to New Jersey just to fucking get our ass beat like this. Like, can we go back to Syracuse now? I want to go back to playing Cincinnati. These boys are fucking grown.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy. Nah, trust me. I felt the same way when Texas, when Vince Young ran it in the touchdown. So that's the group I grew up watching. But when I got to UM, I had some downs. And, that's on me. It wasn't on anybody else. It was all the decisions that I made and that I had to learn for. But, Reggie Wayne, he talked to me a couple times just to get it in my head. He came up to the facility. I done had one-on-ones with him. Just his voice, his opinion, his passion for even talking to me. How many receivers come through there and I'm the one he over here talking with, trying to get their mind right. Like that's big. I didn't think about it then, but now I think about it. I could still holler at him. I chit chat with him online every now and then, and he knows how I feel about those situations and how I took it and how I'm trying to be the man I am today. And just like him, that's one person I look up to, and that's, if you want to talk about it, it wasn't when I was little. It was when I was trying to be a man. It's when I got someone from UM and took after them and took their word and just ran with it, even though it took time for it to sink in that was him, because I was playing ball at the time,
Right.
And when I got to the Dolphins, they gave me the number 87. I'm like, whoa, hold up.
Hold some weight. That holds some weight.
What's going on? I'm like, this is real. This is real. And that's when, I took it from there, and everybody was like, why you wearing 87? I said, Reggie Wayne. So
that's awesome. So, like, what would you say, like, is that difference from, we're talking about leadership, mentorship, all that stuff. What would you say is a big difference? And it could be good or bad, doesn't matter, from being in UM as a college athlete and then being in the pros with the Dolphins. Like, what's that experience like? What's the differences? What's the good? What's the bad? What'd you learn?
I learned working out in the league is obviously easier on your body. I'll tell you that right now. We focus on little muscles.
No hitting. No hitting. Pad tap.
That's it. It's,
Pad tap. No Oklahoma drills in the pros.
No.
College, you're a fucking crash test dummy. You're getting ass beat.
You already played a game before Saturday.
Yeah.
So that's just the difference in that, and the learning difference. You learn, obviously, you're gonna learn more in the pros, just because you got a lot of OGs in the locker room. More on life. More on life than you would in college. Obviously, you in college to have fun. You in college to enjoy you.
Oh, you were turning up at the U, no doubt about that.
Yes, I could say that. I did. And you know what? That's where my ups and my downs came from. And you know what?
Like everyone, though. I feel
loved
like
it, though.
Yeah. I mean, that's what college is about, though, right? It's like you got to, that. I mean, the last guest that we just had on, I was telling him, it's like it was a 4-year period for me at Syracuse where, like, I was able to kind of live in this bubble and fuck up a lot, you know, like a whole lot. And not really, you know, like there were ramifications, as I'm sure there were with you, but they weren't as serious as they are now if I fuck up.
Oh,
you know?
yes.
So it was a great learning experience for me where I was like, okay, I can really like see where I can push my limits on certain things. How much work can I take on? You know, how much free time can I take on? What can I do with that free time? How does that impact me? You know, and as an athlete, you're talking about that on steroids, right? I mean, like, even working for a team, like my friends that were in college, like they didn't have even the responsibilities I had, and then you got to add on meetings onto that shit. You know, like I was going to practice, setting up practice, still doing my homework, doing the things I wanted to do with my extracurriculars, but you know, I didn't have 3-hour meetings every day, twice a day, 3 times a day. You know, have class, like no one was checking see if I was in class. You know, I was fucking missing class all the time. You know, so I'm sure for you, like, you know, having that experience in athletics, you know, at least from listening to our conversation so far, is like it meant the world to you because it really taught you exactly, like, you know, these are the things that I'm going to have to deal with in my life in order to get to where I want to go, you know. And I feel like for our listeners, that's a huge thing, is like the amount of sacrifice that really goes in. Like, you probably wanted to be a normal college kid going to the bar on a Tuesday night. Like that shit wasn't happening a lot of the time though. Maybe maybe sometimes, probably more than your coaches would have liked. But, you know, I mean, compared to most college kids that are just there to kind of fuck around and go to class, like you were there, like you said, you were there to handle business.
Oh yeah, it's handle business, and also I think about it sometimes. Like, if I ain't played football, would I have been a faster family man? So it's like, you know, it weighs in 2 different categories too. For sure. Because now I can't think about being a family man. I like being a family man, so that weighs into it too. Damn right, I wanted to go to the bar and, you know, hang out and, you know, not think about football. But I had people behind me. I got people to feed. I got people that if I'm at the bar every day, guess what they're going to do? Their whole life going to change, and they're going to be at the bar every day. I got like 15 nieces and nephews. Wow. And trust me, they read the newspaper with my ups and my downs. They will tell you, they're all from 13 and down. They will tell you, they will call me ASAP. They see something in the newspaper. So I couldn't go to the bar every day. I couldn't just sit there and then go back to them and lie. You know, that's not the guy I am. That's not who I want my people to be.
And I think we can all agree on too, like, you know, going back to the mistakes that we all have made in our past and our youth, like, and, you know, saying like, man, you know, the difference is, you know, making some of those mistakes now would be completely different.
Costly.
You know, big time. You know, so I think it's amazing too, like, we can all say and agree, like, you know, that saying, you know, if you fail to move forward, and we take it in a way, it's like, you know, fail young and fast, so that way when you're older, you know, you've built that new skin, and you have a new way of thinking, and now you have that new way of going about life, where you already know you did this, and now you know what you need to do, and you won't repeat those mistakes again. And that's why at the same time, like, I think it's amazing, you know, coming from, you know, being a coach, being an athlete, someone who has experienced certain mistakes. Like, you could be relatable, and you can also talk to these young, you know, kids and mentor them and tell them about some of your mistakes, and, you know, where it led you, and how, you know, they can approach things differently, and how can use those experiences to really shift somebody's life. And I think that's a lot of, even with us, you know, when we talk to our clients and we talk to our people, you know, and we share our experiences, you know, and we show our past failures, and you know, you just build thicker skin from that, and you learn and you move forward. So, you know, I think that's something we can all agree that it's an amazing, unique part of our individual lives, and we have all experienced different mistakes, and you can learn from mine, I can learn from yours, and I think that's where the growth happens. You know, when you can teach each other's mistakes, not just your successes, but teach each other's mistakes, so you don't copy one of his, or vice versa, or repeat something yourself. So, you know, to me, I just always found that super, super important.
And that goes back to what, you know, coaches say as I was growing up, because I'm talking to him don't mean you can't take this note. So, yep. And, you know,
it's a great piece of advice.
A lot of people don't do that. So don't be like yourself in a positive way. And that's another thing why I wear this shirt right here. It says no one like me. That means no one, if anybody asks. a little Spanish. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. Got to represent Miami. Got to represent Miami. Can't
Ah,
forget.
yeah.
Can't forget.
No one's like me, and I live off that just because soon as I start acting like someone else, I'm not gonna be that guy you see. I'm not gonna be that guy you met, because now you're gonna be like, I seen a person like him before. That's a joke. So just be yourself and just being that empowerment on everyone else and just getting out your situation. Definitely being down here with all the young kids, just getting them out of the situation. Another reason why I'm here. Can't say everything though.
Yeah, I feel you. But hey, man, we almost hit an hour. I think that's maybe the best way to wrap this up.
Yeah.
What a great message. You're first time meeting you, but you're obviously a great person. Mendez is one of my good friends, and he's always talked highly of you. The few conversations that we've had, especially as we were leading up to this. So I want to say it again. Thank you so much for being on our podcast and sharing your story and your messages with our viewers and our listeners. I know a ton of people are going to get a lot out of this, man.
Definitely.
So thank you from the bottom of our heart for coming out here. Before we jump off though, if you want to let people know where to find you at, your Instagram, you got a YouTube or whatever you're doing, feel free to do it now.
You could Rashawn Scott, Scotty11, spell out the 11, not just 11. I don't have no YouTube or no broadcast. I'm just out here trying to motivate people, be the best coach I can be the best coach I will be. Let me correct that.
Love it.
Boom.
That's all I really got to say. If you need anything, you know where you can find me at. You can message me with anything you need. I got you. If it's help, if it's counseling, if it's just trying to be great, if it's trying to get equipment, just know I got you.
So before we wrap things up, just one last thing I always like to tell everybody and ask everybody, what's the one piece of advice that you can leave people off with that they can start doing today?
Enjoy the pain. That's all I got to say. Enjoy that pain, because I wouldn't be sitting right here if I ain't love pain.
Wow.
There we go.
You guys heard it from the man himself. So thank you, brother. I appreciate you coming on here.
Thank you, bro.